When we first notice the experience of being aware, or awareness itself, it is a kind of neutral background to our experience, a neutral witnessing background. It seems to have no positive qualities. It's just neutral, impartial, silent. And usually the first of its qualities, if we can call them qualities, that we feel is its peaceful nature. And it's only in time that the loving quality and the happiness quality of awareness begin to impress themselves upon us. But the reason that it often seems to be missing is because for so long we've imagined that love is an experience or a state. And so we look for this love that we hear is synonymous with consciousness as some kind of feeling. And as long as we look for it as some kind of feeling, it will elude us. So it comes from the background, just as the peaceful quality of awareness comes from the background of our experience. We don't experience as a peaceful state in the foreground, so the happiness quality and the love quality come from the background. So it could be that you're looking for it too much as a state or an experience. This marvelous experience of universal love. Relax that desire. Let it creep up on you slowly from the background. The other thing that I've noticed about these qualities of awareness, if we can call them qualities, is that its impartiality and its peace make themselves known in the privacy of our hearts. When we meditate alone at home, its peaceful quality becomes evident fairly quickly. But the happiness and love quality become evident as we begin to take this understanding back out into our lives. So there's often I've noticed a delay with the more positive or the warmer qualities of awareness, the happiness aspect and the love aspect. They usually become evident as we begin to start exploring the body and the world, and to take this understanding out into our activities and relationships. That's when the happiness and love aspects really become more evident in our lives. Whereas in the privacy of our homes, if we're meditating alone, we feel it more as peace. But not all experience is what it appears to be. Well, this experience of the room, or let's call it the world, is real. But the question is, what is real about it? What is its reality? And if we investigate its reality, we don't find stuff called matter, we find stuff called consciousness.
But it doesn't make the matter go away.
The matter was never there in the first place.
That's where I get
The matter is the illusion, matter is the appearance. Seeing the screen, that is the reality of the landscape, doesn't make the landscape go away, because there was no landscape there to begin with. All there was to the landscape was the screen. So we can still see the appearance of the landscape, but know that it is a screen. In other words, it is ignorance that disappears, not Maya. Maya, in this context, is the illusion. It's not Maya that disappears, it's ignorance that disappears.
So you know it for what it really is, and you just see the screen.
Yes, you still watch the movie, like the example I gave this morning. Most people, when they watch a movie, they just see the contents of the movie. when Ramana Maharshi and the Buddha watch the movie, they still see the contents of the movie, but all they see is the screen. They watch the same movie, but they see its reality. They don't allow the content of the movie to obscure its reality. People like Ramana Maharshi and the Buddha, these were not people who had extraordinary experiences. Their experiences were the same as our experiences, just this ordinary experience. But they didn't allow the objective qualities of experience to veil or obscure the reality of experience. They saw, as it were, through the illusion, although it's not through it. You don't see through the landscape to see the screen, but you understand what I mean. They saw, as it were, through the illusion to the reality. They didn't allow the appearance of things to veil their reality.
I mean, it feels, when I understand it, it feels true. And when I read quotes like there is no creation, there is no dissolution, there is no seeker, it just feels, intuitively, it feels so right. It's such a relief to read that.
Yes, you see, that is written from the point of view of awareness. That text is awareness speaking. Now remember, awareness is the self-aware, dimensionless screen, but let's say it's the vast screen upon which all the colours of experience are playing. Now, from the point of the screen, nothing other than the screen ever comes into existence. Yes, from the screen's point of view, there is just itself, modulating itself, colouring itself in all the forms of experience. But no thing, no separate object comes into existence. Existence from ex sistere in Latin, meaning to stand out from. To one watching the movie on the sofa, it seems that the people and the trees stand out from the screen and have their own independent existence. But from the point of view of the screen, if not from the point of view of one watching the movie, but from the point of view of the screen, if the screen were watching the movie, no person or tree or object would stand out from itself and with its own independent existence. It experiences everything as a play of itself. And that's what it means when we hear nothing exists. It doesn't mean that there is no experience. It means no thing, no independently existing thing stands out from awareness with its own being. The only being there is, the isness of all things, is the screen of awareness. From that one's point of view, there is no creation in the sense that there are no created things. There is just the dimensionless screen of awareness modulating itself in all the forms of experience. Nothing is created. No thing comes into existence. That's why it says in the Bhagavad Gita, that which is never ceases to be, that which is not never comes into existence. But these statements, when they're taken out of context, or when they don't come with an accompanying explanation, they appear, from the point of view of the separate self, to be very nihilistic statements, and they have led to a huge amount of misunderstanding in the spiritual traditions, particularly in the Vedantic tradition, a very dismissive attitude towards the world. If it doesn't exist, if it's just an illusion, don't pay any attention to it. If wrongly interpreted, these teachings can lead to a life-denying point of view, a point of view that denies anything to do with the life and the body and activity and relationship.
So sometimes when I think about I am, to help myself, I think about I, the unchanging, and am feels to me like am in the world. And when you said, Krishnamurti said, I don't mind what happens, I thought on the one side you've got I don't mind, unchanging. And on the other side you've got what happens, like things change. And it reminded me of what Krishna said about, which I love very much, is unperturbed by changing conditions. He sits apart and watches and says the powers of nature go around and fears nothing and shakes not. So again, you've got unperturbed by changing conditions, the sort of I, but you've also got the powers of nature. So I love what you always say about live a life that's consistent with your understanding as being the third thing. So those ideas of, on the one hand, he said, I don't mind, he didn't say, I don't care.
Yes.
So from nothing matters, everything matters if you don't mind.
Yes.
And from being unperturbed, you're not anaesthetized by condition, which is what a lot of us sometimes feel, I think. It's different, isn't it? So the powers of nature go around, but we're not numbed by them. So for me, that's pretty active and a sort of welcoming into my own life in a way. So that led me to T.S. Eliot saying, no, not fixity, not movement, not ascension, not descending. At the still point of the turning world, there the dance is. And he said, and there's only the dance. So I thought, again, that's an invitation to me and perhaps all of us, to welcome the I into the am of our lives. And really, as we all sort of pack up and go into our dances, it is easy for I don't mind to become I don't care, and for, unperturbed to become numbed. And I wonder if you recognize that, because for me that still point is contained in the dance, and it's very exciting to think of living it.
The still point at the center of the turning world is the I am at the heart of all experience. So when we say I am agitated, the agitation is the turning world. But the I am, our being, is at the center of the experience of agitation. When we feel agitation, the agitation is not over there and myself over here. I am at the heart of the feeling of agitation. And in fact, I am at the center of every experience I have. So the I am is always the still point of the turning world. It is the still point, which is not a point, it is spread out all over. But we could say that I am is the still point at the heart of all experience. So in the Vedantic tradition, the I am is usually conceived as the witness of experience at a distance from experience. We have the foreground of experience, our thoughts, feelings, sensations, and perceptions over there, and I am the aloof, impartial witness of experience in the background. This is a legitimate first step, but we need, and here we very quickly collapse that distance. We don't just find the I am, the presence of awareness, in the background of experience. We find it in the midst of experience, in the heart of experience.
Because it's a bit cool to say he sits apart and watches.
Well, that's the traditional Advaita teaching.
Yeah.
That's the first step.
Yeah.
He sits apart and watches.
Yeah.
That's the first step. But we shouldn't stick to that teaching. That's just a teaching. That was just the first class that he gave. Later on, for the people that stayed around a bit longer, he who was it? Was it Krishna or Krishna would have explained? Actually, the I am is not real. Doesn't really sit aloof and apart. That is only said to one who is completely lost in their experience. So, as a first step, we say, see that you are the impartial, unaffected witness of your experience. But when that has been understood, then the next day Krishna says, actually, the I am is not aloof, apart from experience. It is in the very midst of your experience. When we say, I am lonely, the loneliness is not over there, and I am not over here. The I am is right in the midst of the experience of loneliness. When you feel lonely or upset, do you feel that yourself is somehow at a distance from your experience? No, yourself pervades every part of your experience, just as the cloud pervades every part of the sky. So what is necessary in the experience of loneliness, agitation, upset, depression, etc., is to discern the I am in the midst of that experience. That is the still point at the center of the turning world.
But the dance, there the dance is, and he says,
the dance
there is
experience.
only the dance.
Well, yes, if by there is only the dance we mean there is only experience.
Yeah.
Yes, there is experience.
But within that, there's...
Well, it's not within that.
No.
The experience is within.
Yeah.
The sky is not within the clouds.
Sure.
The clouds are within the sky. So really, experience is consciousness. But the thoughts, feelings, sensations, perceptions, the dance is a movement of consciousness, just like the clouds are a movement of the sky. But every part of the cloud is pervaded by the sky. So the sky is the still point at the center of the storm. The sky is obviously not a point in the middle of the storm, but it is the stillness in the mid. The sky is always still, the storm is always raging. So the storm is the dance in T.S. Eliot's poem, but the sky is always, that the still, imperturbable sky is always present, not just behind the storm, but in the very midst of the storm, in fact, as the very reality of the storm. Right at the very heart of the storm, we find the motionless sky. And the motionless sky, the access to the motionless sky, is the knowledge I am. The knowledge I am is the gateway to our imperturbable being, not just behind experience, but in the midst of experience.
So
and it is from
158 dancers take it with them when we leave here. You know, we're all going to our different dances, aren't we?
But it is a single dancer. Has dancing in the form of 158 dances.
Yes.
But the dancer is one.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yesterday in the meditation, in the morning during the silence, I quite often struggle to find a quiet mind, and so I don't really try to do that. Instead, I paid as close attention as I could to every perception that I had. So whether it was a bird or a creek or anything. And I now understand that it's the constant diversion to thought that keeps me from direct experience. That it's the such incredibly fleeting moment of experience that immediately reverts to thought that is that losing. And so knowing that, I was able to get closer and closer until it was just the sound, and something became more and more evident. I don't know how, but it's like if consciousness was an artist and each of these sounds and sights were one of its many creations, it feels as if each one bears its signature, incredibly subtle. But it seemed like that signature was so incredibly pure as to be so easily missed. And also the feeling that came to me was incredibly innocent as well. No motive, no desire, no kind of need, just for the love of it, I suppose. And because, the teaching is so clear, I understand that is who I am. Even though it's a shaky experience for me. But it became clear that just, that happiness to just create, to just be, needs no opinions, needs no beliefs, needs nothing. And so anything that feels like it needs something or is an opinion is just not essential. And it's a strange feeling because I've spent my life investing myself in all of these things, but it did feel like a step back into that. And what surprised me is, as you've told everybody so many times, it wasn't like there were no bursting suns or, the choirs of angels. It was because the only thing that finds it amazing is the mind, because it catalogues an amazing experience. But this free creation, it's just normal, everyday business for it, I suppose. And the feeling in the body that followed was just like sitting in the sunshine. And so I wonder if, as I continue to investigate, obviously there's a lot to investigate, whether that method of just paying very close attention to perceptions is a legitimate way to deepen that experience.
Yes, it is, as long as you continue to follow the pathway that you just described. And I like very much your description of consciousness as the artist. Every thought, feeling, sensation, or perception is like a brushwork and the work of art. But each brushstroke bears the signature of consciousness. And the signature of consciousness is the experience I am. So every experience contains within it what I am. And as you say, that signature is transparent. It has no color of its own, but it is contained within. It is the colorless paint before it is tinted with each particular color. So it's fine to focus on a particular brushstroke, a particular perception, as long as you're not focusing on its objective aspect, but you're using the object to take you to the signature of consciousness, to the experience I am. So you can follow every experience. This is the tantric path. You go. We don't start by going inwards towards the I am. You follow your perception, but you don't stop with the objective aspect of the perception. You go through it to the colorless paint out of which it is made, the signature of consciousness, which is always the experience I am in the midst of every experience. So yes, that would be a legitimate pathway. Follow every experience. Give your attention to objective experience and follow it all the way until you arrive at the signature of consciousness. Did I repeat this time? Rilke's beautiful poem, which is the essence of the tantric path. It's exactly what you describe. A beautiful translation by Stephen Mitchell. Plump apple, smooth banana, melon, peach, gooseberry. How all this affluence speaks life and death into the mouth. I sense. Observe it from a child's transparent features while he tastes. What miracle is happening in your mouth? Instead of words, discoveries flow out from the ripe fruit, astonished to be free. Dare to say what apple truly is, this sweetness at first thick, dark, dense, then exquisitely lifted in your taste, grows clarified, awake, luminous. Oh, double-meaninged, sunny, earthy, real, knowledge, pleasure, inexhaustible. Well, all praise goes to Rilke and Stephen Mitchell's exquisite translation. That is the essence of Tantra, that poem. Unlike the Vedantic path, which ignores objective experience and asks the question, who am I, or what is it that knows or is aware of my experience, or any such question. And this takes us away from the objective content of experience directly to ourself. In this path, we go the other direction. Plump apple, smooth banana, melon, peach, gooseberry. This is going deeply into the senses, into experience, into sensations, into sights, into sounds, going deeper and deeper and deeper. Dare to say what apple truly is, that this concept that has imprisoned our experience. And in this beautiful line, instead of words, discoveries flow out from the ripe fruit, astonished to be free. And then he reduces and reduces and reduces, goes to the heart, looking for the signature of consciousness in every experience. And this beautiful last line, oh, knowledge, pleasure, inexhaustible. That is infinite consciousness. Knowledge, inexhaustible knowledge, unlimited knowledge, which in the tantric tradition, the pleasure of the senses are a gateway into infinite consciousness or inexhaustible knowledge. So yes, absolutely, you could take any perception, any sound, but follow it in the way Rilke follows it. Open it up, open it till you get to the signature of consciousness, inexhaustible knowledge or unlimited knowledge at the heart of every experience.
I just want to add something I read in Jean Klein's book, which I found incredibly powerful. He said something about when you understand the question, who am I, you realize that the question appears within the answer.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I was asking myself, what is there before the question, during the question, and remains when the question is gone? I did the same with perception.
Yes. The question is the current in the ocean. The water is the answer. What is there prior to the current? What is there during the current? What is there after the current? Water. So the question, who am I, is itself just a temporary name and form of the answer. The answer itself has veiled itself with itself. It has veiled itself in the form of the question with which it is seeking itself.